I have all of them.
So many Daisy Ridley pictures in your photo stream.
This one.
Wait, what the heck is that?
Did I send this to you?
No.
I thought I did. Wait, you didn't get this?
No.
I thought I told you. I sent it and I was like, well, Natalie Portman got pretty muscular for this. I thought I did. I'll show it to
Why is she wearing a bag?
Well,
were
exactly.
Were you wondering why I didn't respond?
No, you did respond.
What?
I'll show you. You're like, yeah, I know, but they still sexualized her.
I did not see half of that picture. I swear to God, I didn't see it.
Maybe you didn't click it. See?
What the?
Yo, she was kind of jacked, but I agree, over-sexualization. Oh, she was in great shape. So I assumed you watched it.
I only saw this half of it.
Oh,
you have no idea. I only saw half of it.
Really?
That is so weird.
Get that bag on.
Why is that the full outfit? Is that actually Natalie Portman under there?
I don't know.
It doesn't look like
Is
her.
it?
Guys, we have to post this. We're gonna have to post this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, follow Emily on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter if you want to see the picture.
You'll
If
see
not,
it.
then you guys will never see it, and it'll just hurt
you
you.
didn't see it.
Oh, me on Twitter, at hazard_Emily.
Yeah, she has some great GIFs and memes.
Mm-hmm.
Please watch.
Yep.
And view and like.
And view, yeah.
Look at all the Daisy Ridley.
Your photo stream is just all Daisy Ridley.
I have to.
It's okay, though.
I like to keep things of value in my phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Only valuable things, Emily. Gosh, shame on you.
So, like, I don't want to marry Daisy Ridley, but, like...
But I kind of do.
But if she asked... No.
Okay.
Here's what I want. And this is going to sound creepy, but what I want is her to be best friends with me.
Yes.
Like, I want her to sign a contract, an oath, to
Like
just be, like, best
servitude.
friends. Like, you know when you get married and you have to say that vow? Like, you have to say your vows? I want that, except I want it to just, like, be friends.
Yeah. I want her to do that and then sometimes give me some money, maybe. On occasion.
You're not gonna sign what do they call it? A nuptial?
Nuptials?
Nuptial?
I think?
Whatever.
I don't know.
We're not
I'm
rich enough to know. Yeah, exactly. We're not rich enough to even know.
Either way, you know.
So, Daisy Ridley, if you're listening, we love you. Come on the podcast.
Please, please. If you ever hear this, please, two lonely, lonely souls who are... This is just depressing. I'm lying. No, we have each other or something.
But we do love you.
Yeah. Please.
We love you.
No, I can't do it.
I can do a British accent.
Do
I
it.
think so. What should I say? Something like
Say-
classically Daisy.
Yeah, say... What was that thing from that interview with Josh Gad? No, it's an owl, or something like that.
Oh, it was the babysitter answers the phone, and what does she hear? Hey, it's Emma!
That was pretty good.
I can do Daisy.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we've watched enough of her to, like...
not to sound creepy, but...
We've watched so much of her, it's possible.
Yeah, seriously.
Guys, it's a little creepy. We know so much of Daisy that sometimes we say similar things to her.
Yeah.
That will, like, Emily found in an interview something she said on a podcast that Daisy also said.
Yeah, and it was like a huge moment. I was like, oh my god, Daisy Ridley has said it.
Yes.
Like, it was like my tagline for a podcast.
Yeah.
And she said it, and I was like, oh.
We're basically
best friends.
yeah.
I mean, we
needs a
text almost
contract?
every day.
Who needs a contract now?
Yeah. We do international texting.
Still waiting on that money, though.
Yeah. She doesn't like us enough to send us money.
Yeah. That's fine. I wouldn't like me either.
And she canceled on us today.
Yeah. Too bad she couldn't be here, guys. But you still got us.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about...
So, here's the deal. Hi, I'm Emily Hazard.
I'm Amy Scaria.
Okay, and today we're doing our Star Wars The Last Jedi spoiler reactions part 2. So, finally part 2. It's only been like 4 or 5 months.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Let
okay.
it marinate a little.
You know.
And by marinate, I mean text about it every single day since it came out.
Hashtag daily dose of Daisy.
Yeah, by the way, guys, we literally have
Can we get that trending?
a thing. Yeah. Daily dose of Daisy or do a dollop of Daisy.
A dollop of Daisy?
We literally have a text conversation that goes on for several weeks now where we send a daily
dose of Daisy. Yeah, anything Daisy Ridley, we send it to you. She's never gonna come on. She's never gonna, if she finds this, she's gonna think that we're gonna kill her.
She's gonna think we're creepers, but we are, so it
Penn
works
State.
out.
Anyway.
Oh, God. Stop.
Oh my God. Okay. So we have a special thing for you. So right after the movie, the day after, I saw it with my brother and my mom. So I saw it like a double dip the first night, and I saw it twice. And the day after, I recorded an interview with both of them that it's never been released, guys. So this is exclusive. Mm-hmm. And we're going to play those for you now and then react to it. So this one is my mother. Day after the movie, initial reactions. Here we go. Alright, so we're going to start the interviews of reactions for The Last Jedi now. With me, I have my mom, who I've talked about a lot on these podcasts, so you finally get to hear from her.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
So I just have a few quick 10 questions that I'm going to ask every single person I interview, so we get the same questions, and then we get to see how the answers differ. So the first one was, you walk out of a theater, it was like, 1:45 when we walked out. What are your overall feelings towards the movie?
I overall really liked the movie. It was long, but I thought it moved well. There was a lot of action in it, and I liked it.
So you walked out happy that you went?
Yes.
Just interesting, I just came up with this right now. Did you feel happier walking out of that one than you did walking out of The Force Awakens?
In some ways I did, because we got to figure out Luke's backstory a little more. But, I mean, The Force Awakens, that was an epic way to end that movie, was her, climbing up on that, rock or whatever and handing him his lightsaber. I mean, that was pretty classic, so...
Yeah, and actually, I was going to ask a question kind of like this later, but I think I'll do it now. Do you feel like when he throws that lightsaber behind him, that kind of cheapens the end of The Force Awakens? When you watch The Force Awakens now, are you just going to be thinking, well, there's all this build-up for, comedy?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think they put it in there for a little bit for comic effect, but also... It was also to show that he was done with all that stuff and didn't want any part of it again. But there was quite a bit of comic relief in various parts of this movie that it was funny, but it wasn't necessary as much of it as they had, I thought, in the movie.
Do you have an example?
Those creatures that are tidying up the island or whatever that he lives on, there was several instances of that, where it was supposed to be funny. And, of course, the porgs. But, I mean, that was kind of funny with Chewie and the porgs, but I'm trying to think if there was any other...
Hux and Poe in the beginning.
Hux and... Oh, yeah, that was funny, but then you realized why Poe did that.
Yeah.
So, and Hux was so straight-laced that he didn't even understand there was a joke being played on him.
Yeah, I feel like that's the funny part. So anyway, my next question is, what, moment, if you had a moment, stuck with you the most? I can't wait to see that again when the DVD comes out, or I'm going to go to the theater again just to see that moment?
I think it's more than one moment. It's kind of the whole, the mind sharing between Kylo and Rey. I want to pay more attention to it, because at first I didn't really understand what was going on. At first I thought maybe it was more like a dream sequence, and then I started realizing, that, oh yeah, this is put in here intentionally, and it's going to continue.
Oh, so, okay, so you think it's going to continue to 9?
Well, I don't know if it's going to continue to 9, but I meant it's going to continue in the movie. At first, I was like, oh, this is a one-time thing. I won't pay, I don't have to pay that close attention to it. But then I started understanding, oh, I need to pay attention to this because it's going to happen over it happens multiple times, so.
Yeah, and the thing I really actually liked about specifically the way they filmed that thing isn't that, like, it wasn't like he was like a premonition or like a dream or something. It was cool that it was like Daisy Ridley was acting by herself and Adam Driver was acting by himself until that one scene in the hut. But for the most part, when they were going through like that, she was talking to nobody. Like, I'm talking about Daisy was talking to nobody, and like Adam was talking to nobody. So it was kind of interesting how like their sets were completely different, yet the way they edit it together makes it seem like they're having a conversation. Yeah. I liked that better than if he was like a weird like ghostly figure.
Right.
Yeah.
Or in a dreamlike state.
Yeah,
like
or like
where she was sleeping or he was sleeping and realized it. And when you find out how they connected,
did that cheapen it to you, or
no,
did you like it more?
I liked it more
because it seemed a little bit more sinister, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the Kylo Ren connection. All right. So that kind of actually brings me into my next thing. Was I saw 3 storylines happening in this movie. I saw Hux versus the Resistance.
Yes.
That whole like they're just staying out of the First Order's grasp. I saw Finn and Rose, and then I saw like the whole like all the Force users: Snoke, Kylo, Luke, and Rey as a storyline.
Right. Okay.
So I was gonna ask just what's your favorite moment from each one of them. So I think I pretty much already got the Luke, all that stuff, because you said their Force connection was your favorite.
I guess so, but I also had that hope that maybe Kylo would become light again or would follow his light side. So I had that hope for part of the movie as well. And then of course he doesn't, but
But as soon as he kills Snoke, you kind of know that he's not going to become light again, because then who's the big bad for episode 9? Hux? Like, he doesn't deserve to be like Rey's opponent. As soon as Snoke died, I think I realized that Kylo was not coming back.
Right.
If Snoke had survived this movie, then I feel like Kylo could have become light. But,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And then I guess, going way back to the original Star Wars movies, it's always fun to watch the Resistance get the better of the First Order or
Empire. Yeah.
The Empire, back in the day. I mean, obviously they both suffered deeply in the movie. I mean, they lost a lot of, people and their bases and all that kind of stuff. But it's always, it's an audience favorite to have the Resistance be able to...
So when they escaped, then, was your favorite part? Yeah, okay, so at the very end, the very, very end, when they finally escaped and...
Right, and you knew that there was hope that there was going to be more future Jedi.
So the Finn and Rose storyline, then?
I don't know that I really like Finn and Rose very much.
You mean as a couple, or just...
Well, as a couple, yeah. I liked Finn. Finn was always, he's always been, I think he's been very true in the last 2 movies to trying to help Rey in every way and do what he could. But I feel like they threw Rose in as some other female, character. I mean, she's not the lead, of course, but, like they needed more female interest in the movie or whatever, so they threw her in. And I understand her doing what she was doing to avenge her sister's death. I get that part of it, but she just annoyed me a little bit, and I don't know why. And that's only seeing the movie once. Maybe she'll grow on me more.
Well, the general consensus that I've been listening to via other podcasts and reading about is that the Finn and Rose storyline is what dragged in the movie the most, because it almost seemed like a short film in the middle of a Star Wars movie that had like some weird message about animal cruelty and stuff like that, and then their whole mission ends up not actually doing anything at the end. They get caught and there's no point to it. And so I can see how that's a little frustrating. I also can see how that would have been so much cooler if it was a Poe and Finn mission and they got a little bit more of the bromance, and it would have been cooler, I think, to have that going on. I'll talk about that more in the actual podcast because I have a lot of thoughts about that. But let's just move on to Rey's parents. Was that satisfying to you?
Not really. I mean, you know, you were hoping because she was so strong with the Force that she had, like, more of a, you know, her parents were important in some way in past movies or whatever. So for her to just be from Jakku is it's kind of sad, really. In the long run, it's sad for her, and it kind of, you know, anticlimactic, I guess, for the audience. But I think it would have been hard to write that in for her to be, you know, from Skywalker lineage or wherever else, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think they just let her be a scavenger, basically.
Right. And I think one of the issues isn't that she wasn't related to somebody in the film, because you can be powerful without being related to a Skywalker. Like, I'm cool with that. I think the biggest thing was that the parents ended up not meaning anything. Like, not, like, who they actually were, but, like, in her storyline, at the end, Kylo's just like, your parents were, you know, drunks that sold you for drinking money. And then it was just like, okay, what's the lesson that Rey has learned? How does this make her grow? And we didn't really see any of that. She was just like, I'm gonna cry now, and then that was the end. And it was just kind of like, what? Like, there didn't seem to be a lesson there. Or, like, there wasn't any, like, yes, my parents did this, but I'm gonna be something more. It just kind of seemed like...
I mean, I think she's already proven that she's gonna be something more. And I think Maz Kanata already kind of insinuated with Rey in the first movie that she sort of knew that her parents weren't coming back, and I think she sort of knew the truth way back then. She just didn't want to fully acknowledge that, you know, her parents had sold her off or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I think she's okay with it. I mean, yes, it hurts and all that kind of thing, but I think she is moving on and she's going to live her life a better way.
Mm. All right, so let's talk about the deaths and the not deaths. So we walk in there expecting Princess Leia to be no more, and we walk in there thinking that Luke is going to make it to 9, and they did the exact opposite. And Princess Leia survives at the end of this movie, which I actually did predict. But I didn't think that I was going to be right about that. And Luke dies. So how did you feel about that? Like, what do you think they're going to do with Princess Leia? Or, you know, General Organa, sorry.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with her in episode 9.
She's going to have to die off screen.
Somehow, yeah. But having watched the movie now and everything that's going on, I kind of understand that. I mean, it was filmed, obviously it was all filmed before she died in real life, so that she survived makes sense, but I see that they're trying to show that she's ready to kind of step down and give, you know, someone else. It may not be Poe per se.
I think they set it up so it is going to be Poe.
But he's more of a fighter rather than, you know, so there could be some other person who's in charge of logistics, and he's, you know, he could co-lead or whatever. So I see where they're setting it up, that she's ready to step down. You know, honestly, with Luke, I felt like that was good. It was like it closed the storyline, and I'm okay with him being gone because, you know.
I'm specifically okay with him being gone because once Snoke died, I realized that, like, Rey it had to be Rey and Kylo at the end. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be those two, and there can't be Luke, because if there's Luke, then there's somebody greater than Rey for Kylo to go up against.
Right.
So, with Snoke gone, the big bad from the First Order, and with Luke gone, the powerful one from the Resistance side, it's finally, like, clear slate. Now it's just going to be Rey v. Kylo, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And because, Princess Leia, or what is it, General Organa, I mean, she was never into much of the fighting scenes, or hasn't been in a long time, so she was always, at the base dealing with the logistics. So I agree. I mean, and it also gives Kylo the sense that maybe he might see it. I think as an audience, we feel like he might see his mother again. He might be able to redeem himself a little bit with her. But I think she knew, like when he had his finger on the button and he was going to blow up their base or whatever, and then he didn't do it. I think, if I remember correctly, she sensed that he didn't do it, or he was there and chose not to do it. So maybe they made a little bit of peace.
Yeah, maybe.
In that moment.
Well, at the end, with Luke and Leia talking, and Luke goes, "I can't save him," and she goes, "I know." It was kind of like she was upset, but she made peace with the fact that her son is never coming back.
Right.
Which is depressing, but,
yeah, I know.
So 2 really quick questions, and then we'll be done. If you had to say right now, which I know this is kind of unfair to put you on the spot, but which one's better, The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi?
I would say probably The Force Awakens. But I like when new characters are introduced and getting to know some of the backstory. I like all those details more than the middle of movies, like trilogies or whatever, where it gets a little boring because you kind of know, oh, he's a bad guy, she's a good person, this, and then it's a bunch of fighting scenes or whatever. I like knowing about the people and, having new people introduced and fully developed. So, for that reason.
Yeah.
But I think the 9th movie may wrap a lot of things up, and I think that will be very fun.
I'm very, very happy that JJ is coming back for 9, too.
Yeah.
Which is the perfect segue. Did this movie leave you excited for 9 like The Force Awakens left you excited for 8?
Yes, I think so. Because, some big things are answered, obviously. But there's a lot more... There's a lot more now not to do, but, like Kylo's going to be in charge of the First Order, so to speak. He's going to be calling the shots, and Rey is getting more powerful and has learned, ways of the Jedi, and, so I can see a lot of interesting things happening in 9. So, anyway, yeah, I'm excited for 9.
All right. Thank you for being interviewed. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Nice to talk to you. All right. That was a super weird ending.
It's such a businessy ending. So you guys just heard from Emily's lovely mother.
Yep.
Who's so kind.
She's the one responsible for this.
Yeah. All this glory, right?
Yep. So anything that really stuck out to you in that interview, just to start off?
Oh yeah, a lot of things. I think the point your mom brought up about there being comic relief and how she sometimes thought it was unnecessary was interesting, because I think I personally liked the creatures on the island. Mm-hmm. I feel like for such a tense movie or such a tense start, you always need something kind of stupid to start off.
I didn't think the comedy was so much comedy that it annoyed me.
Yeah.
I think it was fine.
Yeah. And
we do know somebody though who did not like the comedy, no names, but
right. I didn't think it interfered too much with the movie. I think Luke throwing his lightsaber at first seemed funny, but honestly I didn't laugh at that. I remember this specifically. Yeah. My theater laughed, but in my head I was like, oh no. And I immediately got a sense of the place he was in and the mindset he was in from that action.
I think my mom said that too.
Yeah.
I think that she said that was part of the reason that happened. But interestingly, and maybe I wasn't the greatest interviewer because I did lead her to say a few things. Like I could, when I'm listening to myself, I'm like, yeah, I kind of led you to say that answer. But she did say she thought that the really emotional ending of The Force Awakens was kind of cheapened by the fact that he threw that lightsaber behind him.
I think in hindsight it does seem that way.
Because think about it. Every single time you watch The Force Awakens from now on,
right,
and she's holding out that lightsaber and her face is just amazing, like with so many emotions, you're just going to think, oh, he takes it and then throws it behind him.
Right, but at the same time, I think it also played a crucial part. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because how else would you want Luke to react? Like, let's say if we wrote it, how do you think he should have reacted? Just like, I think anything he did with his mindset would have been a so-called cheapening. Like, if he smirked, if he, like, walked away, I think it would have all been kind of cheap. Don't you?
Well, he does that thing where he, like, takes the lightsaber and his hand is kind of shaking.
I see.
Like, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, like, and then I feel like he could have just looked at her and they could have had, like, a long moment where you can't figure out what he's thinking. Just like at the end of The Force Awakens, you don't know what he's thinking. And then maybe he just, like, gives it back and walks away. Like, I don't know. I think the throwing of it behind him was a little much. It almost felt like somebody brought Ryan the Force Awakens DVD and he just chucked it behind him. Yeah. He was like, F that. Like, that's what it felt like to me. And I was like, but Force Awakens is amazing.
Yeah. I liked it. I don't know. I think there's arguments for both sides, though. I think it was crucial and it was a little bit of a cheapening thing, but, you know, that's what middle movies, I feel like, tend to do.
Yeah, and she said that.
Yeah. Also, I think your mom talked about her favorite part of the movie being the mind sharing and, you know, the way in which they carried that out.
Well, she always has said to me that the least favorite thing about Star Wars for her is, like, all the fighting. Like, she likes a few fight scenes, but when it just, like, drags on and on and on, that's when she gets tired of it. So she's always been the kind of person that likes humanistic scenes way more than, like, just straight up fighting. So that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But interestingly, and I don't think you got it from the interview, she hates Kylo.
I didn't get that sense from him. It seemed like she wanted him, she was hoping for him to come to the light, which she does say.
I think she was hoping for him to come to the light because she hates that he's such a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why she hates him.
Yeah. I can see your mom loves, like, humanity and, like, all that. She loves, like, just people being good.
Yeah, well, see, there's, like, I, quote, hate Kylo. I don't really hate him. I love to make fun of him. That's, like, my favorite pastime. Han Solo. But my mom actually straight up hates him. Like, when we watch The Force Awakens, whenever we watch it, she's just like, oh, God, he's so horrible. Like, she always says stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's true.
Right. And, you know, I think my favorite part might have been the fight scene, so I might be a little opposite of this, because I'm a sucker for fight scenes, and also I feel like a lot of the fight scenes led way into my, you know, greater appreciation for Rey, because she was more of a go-getter in this one, and I think the fight scenes, I don't know, alluded to that, I guess. But I also liked the mind sharing. It was interesting your mom brought up that she liked the fact that Snoke bridged them.
Yeah, she did. Because she thought it made everything more sinister. Yeah. Like, I don't think that she likes the idea of them together. And that's what it is. Like, she doesn't want to see them, like, in a romance at all. So she liked the fact that they were making him a more complex character. And then she also liked, on top of that, that the reason he's becoming a more complex character is from this sinister root. It's like a really sinister, like, root of why. Like, it's almost, like, twisted. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, Snoke did it?
Did you expect that, by the way? That Snoke was the cause of it? Because I did not. That threw, like...
No, I didn't expect it.
Yeah. When you were watching it.
But then, like, when he said it wasn't like, I was like, oh my God. Like, it wasn't like I just freaked out.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, when I heard that, I was like, ooh, I like that. Because I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable. I was like, oh, if they get together or something like that. But then when I found out Snoke did it, I was like, ooh, I like that.
Well, when I first saw the mind sharing thing, I really enjoyed it because I probably said this several times before, but I like the idea of a good natured person identifying with the worst of the worst. I don't know why. I guess I just like people
because it's not
being
black
so
and white.
flawed. Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. And I've said this to you before, like, your worst enemy can be your best friend, and your best friend your worst enemy. It's kind of like that. Rey, in her darkest moment, she couldn't rely on Luke. Her friends and family were basically gone. Like, she was by herself, so all she could rely on was the bad guy.
Yeah.
Which always fascinates me.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that, okay, so my mom she was pretty satisfied with, like, all the big decisions. Like, keeping Leia alive. She was like, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Luke's death, she's like, I felt satisfied with it. Like, all the super controversial things in the fandom right now, she was like, cool, I'm on board. You know? And I was like, that's a nice, like, it's refreshing to hear somebody be like, yeah, she represents the general audience. So it was kind of interesting to be like, yeah, okay, it did fly. Like, Rian did his job. Yeah. He made the general audience happy. Because most people are not like us. And not, like, fanboys, you know? Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like I was satisfied also with Luke's death, but with some other issues of some other things, I do take issue. Like, I do think they could have done something different with Leia. I didn't love her storyline in this. Yeah, I didn't love every characters, but I was okay.
Definitely didn't love every character.
I was okay with most of it overall. I don't think I despise the movie.
Oh, I don't despise it.
A lot of the fandom does.
Yeah.
The crazy
Check out that
man.
Rotten Tomatoes, yo.
Yeah. What is their score?
It's like an amazing critic score and a really bad
audience
score.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I think, just to wrap this up, the overall feeling that she had towards the movie was it was anticlimactic. Like, did you get that feeling during the interview? She was like, yeah, I like certain things, but, like, it didn't really push anything. Right. It was just kind of like a bunch of stuff happened, but nothing really happened.
I got that feeling, but at the same time, your mom did say she is excited for the next one. Yeah. From watching this. So, I don't know. I think she is a general audience member, like you said before. So maybe it's like, oh yay, on to the next one. Whereas us, we're more like,
let's analyze every scene.
Give me, trailer, JJ, everything. Please.
JJ. Please, JJ.
Yeah. But...
And you also have to keep in mind she had about 24 hours to think about it before no, less than that. Like, probably like 12 hours to think about it before I interviewed her. Yeah. So if she saw it again, 5 months later, she might think differently.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Different strokes.
All right, so now we're going to go into my brother. His name is Elliot. And disclaimer, he was in a trashy mood during this interview. So if he sounds like a jerk, or if he sounds like, I'm tired of talking about this, that's why. He wasn't in the best mood. But I cornered him and interviewed him anyway. All right, I'm here with my brother Elliot. Say hi.
Hi.
So, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. They're all the same for all the people that I'm interviewing, and then that way we can compare what different people think, okay? So, it's been just over 24 hours since we saw The Last Jedi. What were your overall feelings towards the movie when you were walking out of the theater?
It was too long, and I immediately thought that it was worse compared to The Force Awakens. Something about it just didn't, I don't know, just wasn't that good compared to that other movie.
Well, was there a moment that stuck with you the most? Like, yeah, gotta see that again. Or I really want to see that specific part again?
Not really, actually. I don't know. The fight sequences were about the same as they've always been, I think. The one, the coolest scene was probably the smashing into the First Order's ship at light speed because there was no sound involved and it was in like super slow-mo.
Yeah, and we saw it in the Dolby Theater together, and that's just an amazing experience. So, yeah, I agree with you. That was pretty cool. So, there were 3 basic storylines in this movie. There was the Resistance versus Hux. There was Kylo, Rey, Luke, Snoke, and there was Finn and Rose. That's the way I kind of saw it. Of the Resistance storyline, well, I guess your favorite part was the lightspeed then, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so of the Finn and Rose, what was your favorite part?
I don't know. I really didn't like Rose at all. She's kind of weird, and I felt like they had no chemistry at all. So it was kind of unbelievable that he kissed her in that one scene.
Well, I think she kissed him.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I didn't care much about either one of them, honestly. Maybe that's kind of
careful.
Bad to say.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I think the hug between Rey and Finn at the end had more chemistry than the whole storyline of Finn and Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so what was your favorite part of the Kylo, Rey, Luke, Snoke storyline?
That seemed to be the bulk of the movie, right? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, maybe
probably
yeah.
when Kylo saws Snoke in half with the lightsaber, and then they have the fight with the red people.
Yeah, the guards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was super cool. One fun fact about that I actually didn't realize until you really think about it, that movie was the first saga film that didn't have a lightsaber on lightsaber battle, which is really cool. I mean, unless you count the flashbacks with Luke and Ben, but I don't count those, so yeah. So let's move on to something kind of similar. Rey's parents. How did you feel about them being nobodies?
Ambivalent.
You didn't really care?
I mean, and we talked about this after the movie. It's not likely that all of the younglings from the prequels that were getting trained by Yoda and others had parents who were Jedis. Were Jedi, I mean. So it's not like it's an earth-shattering concept that, you know, somebody who has the Force inside of them, or, you know,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Isn't genetically related to a Jedi.
I think the main argument for that, the fact that it's like not good that she's not related to anybody, is that it makes you question, like, why do we care about this girl then? Like, she automatically doesn't seem as important, which I don't believe. I think that that's not a good argument, but that is the main argument.
I'm sorry, what?
Like for example, if her parents are nobody, then why should we care about her, is kind of the main argument.
That's stupid. You care about her regardless of who her parents are, because she's the protagonist of the movie.
Yeah. And that's how I feel, too.
Oh, your parents are nobody. I guess I don't care about you anymore.
Yeah, I think that's dumb. But
I mean, she was integral to saving the entire Resistance.
Yeah, all
tunnel.
5 of them.
So, you know, no big deal, but you wouldn't have a 9th movie without her.
Mm-hmm. So Luke's death and Leia is alive.
Luke's death?
Yeah,
Luke's dead, you mean?
Well, Luke's death, Leia is alive.
Yeah, I didn't like how that was not explained, where he just vanished and was able to project himself. And he wasn't a Force ghost because he was younger and he had a green lightsaber instead of a blue one. So
no, he had a blue instead of a green one.
Blue instead of a green one. So
that's not why he wasn't a Force ghost. He wasn't a Force ghost because he wasn't dead.
I know, but it wasn't explained at all. So I would like to understand what happened there. Also, Leia outliving Luke is totally unbelievable because she looks so broken down in this movie. Like, she can barely speak, it seems like. I don't know.
You mean Carrie Fisher?
Carrie Fisher.
Well, yeah, I think that it was a very interesting
But what are you
choice.
gonna? I mean, you can't recast her at that point.
Well, yeah, but I think it was a very interesting choice that Leia was left alive at the end of this movie. I mean, I expect Mark Hamill to be in the next movie as a Force ghost, but the fact that they didn't kill off Carrie Fisher when they had multiple chances seems weird to me. I just wonder how they're going to do it in 9. I guess it's going to be in the opening crawl.
Oh, that she's dead?
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of irrelevant anyway.
Yeah, but my point is that
because they were just fine without her.
It's a loose end that they didn't need to have. Now JJ has to deal with it when they could have just dealt with it in this movie.
All you have to do in the next opening crawl is say Leia Organa is dead. That's the first sentence right there.
Yeah, okay. I'm just telling you, some Star Wars fans are not going to like that she dies off screen.
Well, too bad. Shit happens. She died on a flight from, London to L.A.?
No, but my point is that they could have had this amazing ceremonious death in Episode 8 and gave her a true send-off, and they decided not to, when they could have. Multiple places she could have died.
I don't know. I thought she was going to die when she was sucked out of the spacecraft.
Mm-hmm. And then they had another chance where she could have stayed behind and done the light speed through the...
Or maybe that her escape pod would be blown up.
Mm-hmm. Although Poe and Finn were both on that... Or not Finn, but Poe was on that one, so they probably wouldn't have blown it up, but yeah. So you kind of already answered the question of which did you like better, Force Awakens or Last Jedi? Force Awakens by far.
I thought the writing was better in The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm. The pacing?
Yeah, the Last Jedi was needlessly long, in my opinion.
And it slowed down in certain parts. I think that it slowed down a lot with the Finn and Rose storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And last question, did this movie leave you excited for Episode 9?
It did and it didn't. I was disappointed that Luke, vanished, died, whatever, towards the end, because I thought that, he would take a more hands-on role to training Rey, kind of like how Yoda trained him in the swamp. And so we now know that Rey is going to have to basically go it alone.
Unless there's a Force ghost.
Yeah, but... I don't know. The whole thing just seems stale to me. Like, it's kind of like it's not different enough from the original trilogy to where I'm like really looking forward to what happens next, because the prequels, wasn't it kind of like a 3-way fight, not a 2-way fight?
In what way?
Well, because I don't really remember, but it seems like there was like this group that was trying to take over the Republic, and then the Republic were at war with the Jedi.
I don't think so.
Or was it the Senate? I can't keep track.
I think it was the Republic, and the like the Jedi were protecting, like the protectors of the Republic.
Oh.
They were like very politically...
I don't know. I just remember it being like a 3-way fight, which was more interesting. Because now it's like good versus evil, and there are no factions at all, and it's kind of like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people walked out of The Last Jedi feeling a little bit like that. Like, The Force Awakens left people...
Like, there's no nuance. The only amount of nuance that we got was maybe Kylo Ren wasn't as evil as we thought he was. And then, spoiler alert, he is. Like, yeah, he got rid of Snoke, but it was only to make him the supreme leader.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did offer Rey a chance to join him, but they would have fought for evil, not good. So.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, I think The Force Awakens left you with a lot more open-ended questions that you were dying to know, and The Last Jedi was kind of like, oh, they ended up in the same sort of place that they were in the beginning of the movie, and it was a little off-putting a little bit at the end. Well, thanks for the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, see you.
Bye.
So that interview was actually very interesting. I haven't heard that since I recorded it in December. And yes, he was in a bad mood. I don't think that, like, changed how he actually felt. I think that was probably changed the way that he told me things, because he was very blunt in that interview, but I think that he still felt those things, so that's kind of interesting.
Something that stuck out that he said was that he thought it was interesting that there was, like, no nuances, I believe. He said something like, the only nuanced thing we saw was the fact that Kylo might not be as bad as we thought he was, but then he's bad anyway, which I thought was interesting. So I guess what he means is overall the movie didn't really get us into any new
And that's what I've been saying,
issues,
too.
right?
That's what I feel like it was. It was like, we started the movie with Kylo being evil.
Yeah.
We ended it with it being evil. We started with Rey being confused and not being trained. We ended her with her being confused and not being trained.
Right.
We started it with Luke really not in the movie, and we ended it with him not in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, we started it and Poe and Finn were with the Resistance, and then they went on this huge long mission that did nothing, and they're with the Resistance. You know what I mean? Like, the Resistance is fleeing in the beginning, the Resistance is fleeing at the end. It was like, it didn't do anything.
But at the same time, I see a progression. Kylo's now Supreme Leader. Rey is now officially on her own, and when she is, like, a master in this next one, which I'm hoping, it'll be more impressive, because she did it on her own. Hey, JJ, I'm nudging you right now. You better do this. But, like,
You better do this, JJ.
It'll be even more impressive. Poe, you know, we can assume, I think rightfully so, that he's probably gonna be, okay, maybe we can't assume. Anyway, you know.
Predictions. I'm just trying to stop you.
Right.
You
know, I think there is progression, though. It may be like, oh, they're still on the same side they started in, but I think it's at a different magnitude. And now I think it's more definite. You know? There's less room for moving. It's more like, this is how it is.
This is how we do.
We tried to change it, but, you know, the characters just couldn't go that way.
Okay, so a few things I wrote down listening to that interview again was, one, he was very confused about Luke's death, and that is interesting to me because he would be considered general audience. Now, he knows a little bit more than my mom does, but in the grand scheme of things, he's not very, like, well-versed in Star Wars. And so it was interesting where he was just like, Luke's death was not explained enough. Like, for us, it was, yeah, that made sense. Like, he just became one with the Force.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that made complete sense to me, and I was like, I liked that. I liked how it was kind of, like, vague and ambiguous, because I know basically enough about Star Wars to understand it. But he did not, because he was like, what happened to Luke, you know?
Right. That's interesting, yeah, because to me it felt like a natural progression. Like, oh, obviously he disappears and his cape is still there, but is he dead? You know? It just felt natural to me.
Yeah, and for Elliot, he was confused because he is considered the general audience, you know? So that was interesting. And then another thing he said was that, and this is a direct quote, it's not different enough from the originals. And yet the whole point of TLJ was to be different from the originals. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, they branded it to be like, come see this movie that's not just a remake of Empire, you know?
Yeah.
And he still saw it as a remake.
Well, couldn't you also say that with The Force Awakens?
Oh, you can definitely say that. That's the point. That's the point I'm making.
Right,
is that The Force Awakens is beat for beat A New Hope. Yeah. It is. And it was awesome.
I don't know. Maybe it's because this is such a cyclical thing.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me at all, but apparently it does for some people, so...
Yeah, the Rose and Finn chemistry, I think both your mom and your brother pointed this out. It was just non-existent.
Yeah.
It was so, I don't know, cringy kind of. I'm thinking of the kiss when I say this, by the way.
It was just kind of like when they were on screen and you were supposed to be like, ooh, they kissed. Like, I was just like, snooze. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, whenever honestly, Rose made me dislike Finn more.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I disliked about this movie was her character. And, you know, I feel bad for saying that, but she's totally unnecessary.
It's so boring.
And I think you told me that Poe and Finn were supposed to originally go on this
I
journey?
think I remember Ryan saying that in an interview, that it was supposed to be Poe and Finn originally. But then he thought, like, what's the hardest thing that I can do for Poe? What's the hardest thing I can do for Finn? And splitting them up would have made their lives harder, so he did it. And I was like, but you're making a movie for the audience.
Yeah.
So
I didn't care enough about Rose. Her attachment to her sister, I get that. I guess if she was in the first movie and I cared and I knew who her sister was, but
yeah.
I don't think that beginning cut of her,
It's such a trope.
dying. Yeah, I didn't
Such
think
a
it was
trope.
enough. Yeah, touch the necklace. The necklace is where
Well,
my
no,
heart
it's just
is.
like, my sister died for this cause, so I'm gonna go on a mission with you. Like, it's such a boring trope. It's like, who cares? Also, it's like, I feel bad for Kelly Marie Tran a little bit, because the only other person you can really compare her to in this movie is Daisy freaking Ridley.
Yeah.
They're around the same age, and they both have gone on side missions with Finn, and it's night and day. I mean, when you're being compared to Daisy Ridley, you're gonna lose. So it's just a shame.
And it's no shade on the actor, to be
Not at
honest.
all.
It's probably what she had to work with. It
Yeah.
was so unnecessary and, just something they added in for no purpose.
I think the thing that's annoying to us is that they shoved it down your throat. Like, they just shoved her in, and they're like, she's a new character now, like her. Like, if it had been more of a natural thing, where it's like, she really wasn't, like, a main character in this movie, and then the next movie, it's like, oh, you remember her, how she was more of a background character? Now she's kind of like a main character.
Yeah, or kind of like in The Force Awakens, where we would see Rey's story, then we would cut to Finn and what he was doing, then eventually they cross paths.
Yeah.
They didn't do that with her at all. We just saw her sister in the beginning a little bit, and then they just threw her in as, like, a mechanic or repair woman.
Yeah. They just...
It would have been interesting if she had her own journey off screen, like.
Which
from
brings
others.
up what Elliot said, that he thought, as soon as he walked out, he thought for sure Force Awakens was way better written than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Thank you, JJ.
Right. I know. I'm so excited. Anyway, I think this movie. This brings me to what Elliot said. Also, is that he's not as excited for the next one, and I believe your mom said she was, but. Personally, I feel very excited because I want to know what the hell they're going to do now. Sure, like, the characters are back to where they started, but I think it's at a different magnitude, right? Like, what are they going to do now? Like, how's it going to end? Like, what's going on? There's another movie, but we have no clue.
Yeah.
Which I like.
In comparison, I am nowhere near as excited for 9 than I was for 8. Nowhere near. But I don't want to blame Ryan completely on that. I think it's also that, like, it was all new and fresh. And The Force Awakens was more of a, like, Star Wars type of movie, where it's just like a celebration almost. And so I'm not shocked that, like, I was like, okay, we got 2 more movies. It was like one of those new things where it's like, I just discovered that Daisy Ridley's amazing. So, it's like, it was all fresh and new back then, and now it's kind of like, now we're in it, I don't
know.
Also, I don't want it to end.
I like not knowing. Whereas the other one, you kind of got a sense. You're like, oh, we have to answer these questions.
Well, I love theorizing.
Yeah.
So.
I do too, but at the same time, I don't know, something about not knowing just, I guess maybe it's kind of that thing where it lends you to, like, have so many expectations, like high hopes, which I don't want to do.
I feel like we're opposite. When the less I know, the less likely that I'm going to just invent something out of the blue. And, like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you give somebody a little bit of string, they'll hang themselves with it. You know what I mean? You ever hear that saying? I'm sure that's not the original saying.
I've heard something like that, yeah.
That's how I felt with the Force Awakens, and I was trying so hard not to theorize too much, because I knew whatever I came up with in my head, I would like more than the actual movie.
Yeah.
So,
but what if this one is 10 times better, not only because it's the last time, and JG,
come on the podcast, JG.
Hey JG, please JG. That should be his new nickname from now on. JG.
You know what we should do? We should do hashtag JJ for So Here's the Deal. That's too long of a podcast.
That's too long of a hashtag.
JJ for
please JJ.
Hashtag please JJ.
That's it.
At hazard_Emily.
Yes, please visit her Twitter, JJ, and then
JJ.
DM her and then tell her that she can read the script and add what she thinks.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
I mean, yeah. I think I've earned it. I mean, I think that JJ and I have been friends enough.
Yeah.
Like, long enough that he should let me do it.
Longer than Daisy,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I've known JJ for a while, actually. Actually, you know, he was there in the birthing room.
She was the inspiration for The Force Awakens.
Yeah, he actually based Rey off of me.
Exactly, guys. Now you know. The original source text.
Yeah.
This is like some Shakespeare shit.
Because I remember saying something like, BB-8, hold on.
Yeah.
We're going low. And he was like, you know what? That would be perfect for a movie. And I was just like, yeah.
We got good banter.
Amy's British voice
I can't with
needs
British.
work.
I know, right? It's because I'm not... Anyway.
India was a colony.
It was, but
I guess none of that rubbed off.
no. My grandparents were from British India, which is...
Did they have British accents?
No, but my grandmother's name is Elizabeth.
Cool.
And my other grandma was Susan.
Susan.
They didn't have Indian names, which... Fun fact. Anyway,
Full disclosure. Amy's grandparents don't have Indian names.
just so you know, guys. This is important. I am not British. What if I was British?
Hello.
That would be such a shame.
I'm Daisy Ridley. No, that's horrible. Okay.
It's Emma.
An owl. Good job, Daisy.
What else does she say? She says,
Now you're just somebody that I used to
No.
know. What?
What was the answer to that?
It was, now you're just some bunny that I used to know.
Nah.
What were we even talking
Yeah,
about?
what were we?
Something about JJ. Something about writing. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought I knew. Oh, not knowing. Don't you think it would be more satisfied?
I think that, like, since I don't have as many expectations because I just know nothing and I'm not as excited, it has the potential to
Be mind-blowing.
yeah, because I'm not gonna walk in like completely like, if this isn't amazing, I'm gonna cry. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna walk in and be like, yeah, okay, like I'm really excited for this, but I'm not like going insane.
Yeah.
Cause guys, it was bad. Like the last 2 weeks before that movie came out, I swear The Last Jedi was every third thought in my head.
Yeah.
It was like school, food, Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Running, school, Last Jedi.
Yeah. Forget brush your teeth.
Yeah, screw that.
But
Food, Last Jedi.
yeah. Food, cry, Jedi. Yeah, I think I'm more excited. I don't know. Not knowing lends up to so many possibilities that I haven't thought of. Which I like not... You know me, I don't like spoilers. Mm-hmm. Even though I don't mind theorizing. I just don't want to know any truths. You know what I mean?
My least favorite thing is when they're just like, this is a rumor. And then you're like, okay, it's a rumor, so it's not like a real spoiler. And then it does come true, and you're like, I hate myself for looking it up.
Yeah. And like those damn TV spots. Ah!
Stupid TV spot.
Can't.
We talked about this during our solo podcast that we didn't record by mistake. So we were just talking to each other. But the TV spot that ended it for me was... I was like watching every single one of them as soon as I could, and then the TV spot where I was like, no more, was when Rey force pulls Kylo's lightsaber and ignites it. Mm-hmm. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I wish I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
And I shut off the internet.
And then you immediately texted me and said,
I texted a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, do not watch, like, I saw something that I didn't want to see, and I'm warning you. Which, what was your reaction to that? Was like, were you like, that's ominous?
I think I knew what you were talking about. I knew it would be a TV spot or something.
I think I said it was a TV spot.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't ominous. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to be a little cautious on the internet.
If somebody texted me that, I would have been like, dying to know what it was.
But one night, I was casually watching, ABC Channel with my mom, and...
It just came on.
It's
just too late. Like, they're so quick.
And, yeah, it just hijacked me.
And as soon as you saw it, like, I gave her no details, but you knew as soon as you saw it, right?
I saw it,
You're like, that's the one.
And I texted you. I was like, I saw what you were talking about.
and you're like, I know I saw what it's just, it's not a big deal to, like, casual general audience, but, like, when crazy fans like us see it, we're like, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that.
Great. Yeah. Do you think that part of us, you know, watching so much beforehand made us less satisfied?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's no way around it. No way. Like, I wish that I could live in a world where I saw absolutely nothing. Like, no even advertisement. Like, I don't want to see... Because I remember it was, like, April of 2017 is when we got the first picture of, like, what all the three were wearing in the movie. And I got to see Rey's new hair down and her new, like, outfit. And I was like, see, even that is coloring what I think about the movie. Like, I almost want absolutely... I don't want to see a poster, but there's no way to do that.
Are you going to take more precaution, you think, for this one?
I think it will honestly be easier. Although, if we keep doing podcasts like this, I'll feel like it's kind of like a responsibility for me to know, be informed. So, I don't know.
My brother literally doesn't watch trailers, so I feel like usually he's pretty fresh.
The trailers are the worst part for spoiling. Actually, I think the TV spots gave away more than the official trailer.
I don't
They
like
showed
TV
a
spots.
lot of the third act.
Sometimes TV spots give a lot of... Yeah, full clips, too. Like... And then when I go in the movie, I'm like, I've seen this because it was on a TV spot.
Yeah.
Why are those a thing?
It's
They don't
supposed to
promote
get...
movies.
No, I think that... Honestly, I think TV spots are extremely important. Because, like...
I think so.
Well, that was back when people used to watch a lot of, like, TV. Like, used to sit down and watch TV. Because I remember when I was younger and the Harry Potter movies were coming out, and I just wasn't good with the internet at that point. We had, like, 2 computers for the whole house. It was, like, a long time ago. I was so young and so, like, naive. I was just like, oh, a new Harry Potter movie's coming out? Like, I just didn't know. And so when I saw it on the TV, I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that. Like, you know, and then I was like, oh, cool. Like, and so TV spots were, like, my... one way that I knew that movies were coming out.
Or you hear it by word of mouth. Like, people would literally tell me, Harry Potter's coming out.
I remember also going to a movie theater and just doing absolutely no research. So I would go for just any movie at any time of the year, and I'd be like, I wonder if I'll see any trailers that, like, of movies I want to see. Like, I knew that there was a new Harry Potter movie coming out sometime within the next year. Like, I wasn't even smart enough to look it up. And then I'd go into the movie theater in, like, summer, and I'd be like, I wonder if they're going to show a Harry Potter trailer, because I know that they always do that. And they didn't sometimes. And I'd be like, darn. But then I wouldn't go and look it up.
You know what? I think we should not look it up. I think we should try, because I've done that before. I've gone into movies where I had no idea
There's
what was
no
gonna
way
happen.
I'm not going to watch the trailer, though.
Okay, we'll give ourselves a trailer, but let's not go further than that.
Yeah.
Let's not see people's reactions. Let's try not to. We can make our own reactions. Let's try not to read others, because I think sometimes that
listen
affects
to a lot
me.
of podcasts. I'll try not to.
Try to give it up, man.
The TV spots I'm going to try to give up.
Yeah.
Because it got bad. Like, it was to the point where every morning the first thing I did was look to see if there was a new TV spot.
Yeah.
But the thing about the trailer is that I bought tickets as soon as they opened, and I had to watch on the TV because they opened the ticket sales when the trailer started.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm getting tickets the minute I can, and so I want to make sure I get it.
Yeah.
So I had to watch the trailer, basically.
Yeah, watching the trailer's fine. I think we should try not to delve into... I'm going to try that, because I really want to go in blindly. I really do. I want to try my hardest. I like to do that. I don't know. I do that with other movies. So it's easier with things that aren't as big as this.
I think my point is, though, is that every little tiny thing they show you does color what you think.
Yeah, it does.
That's a problem. Like, when I saw Rey's hair down and her outfit changed, it changed the way I thought about the movie in my head. Everything. Like, even the title changes the way you think about a movie. Which is a really good segue for our next podcast that's coming out very soon, which is just predictions. We wanted to make a prediction podcast based on nothing. Since we have nothing right now, we thought that it would be a good time, because as soon as we see one thing, it's going to change it.
Yeah, and this one's going to be really fun, because we're going to be bold, and we're just going to say, you know, even
crazy
things,
stuff, and then go back to it in like 2 years and just be like, whoa, we were wrong.
Yeah, we're going to shoot in the dark, guys.
But like,
Disclaimer.
we're going to be real bold.
Yeah.
So look forward to that, and then signing off.
Bye. See ya. Bye. Bye.
JJ,
Banta.
that was my Daisy
right.
Ridley voice.
Do your Ryan.
My Ryan voice? That was really great, Daisy.
Do your Kylo. I
can do
love
it.
your Kylo.
I can do it.
Oh, okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. You're nothing.
You're nothing.
You're nothing to me.
You piece of shit.
You guys suck.